to be here, and I'm going to go over our statistics test that we took recently. This is the Honors ACC 6-7 Statistics CFA. You can see that up there in the corner. Let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to go over the most common mistakes. Feel free to pause this and spend some time in one area and redo it, and then you can kind of skip over the ones you got right. You can kind of fast forward through those and take some time on the ones you got wrong. So here's number one. It gives us some information right here. It's all listed in order for us. Wasn't that nice? And then it says, which statement correctly describes a median of 31? So it's asking you to describe the median. What do you know about the median? Is it the spread of data? No, the median is the center of data. The center. It's not the spread of data, not how spread out it is. Is it the average age? No, that's the mean. The mean is the average. It's also not the most common age, because that is the mode. So we've talked a lot about how the median is the halfway point. Half of the class is equal to or more, half of the class is equal to or less. So that's 50% of the members are 31 and younger, 50% are 31 and older. So I'm going to mark that one and go on to number two right here. Here we see I've already marked the correct answer right here, but in this information, when they give you numbers like this and ask you to match something up, take 60 seconds, take your time and write out these numbers on paper and then figure out what the median is and the quartiles. This one actually is easier than you think. Sometimes you do have to go all the way to the quartiles to figure out which is correct, but this one has one correct answer that has the minimum of 58. Here the minimum is 58. And the maximum is 88. So, yeah, that's right. Maximum is 88. So we're looking for a box plot that goes from 58 to 88. This is the only box plot. You can just look at the minimum and the maximum. That's all you need. The other ones don't match up like that. The median is not, the median is 70. So that it matches up in a couple of these. But again, we don't need to even know the median. The minimum and maximum will show us which one it is. If more than one of these had the same minimum and maximum, we'd need to know what the median was and the quartiles and maybe match those up also. So that may come up in the future. But this one was a pretty easy one right here. Number three, this gives us some numbers right here and is asking you for the mean age of the members of the exercise class. You need to make sure you know how to find the mean. So we need to add up the numbers and then divide by 6 in this case, because there are 6 numbers. So when we add them up and then divide by 6, we will get the answer 33.5 years old. 33.5. The total is 201, and then you divide by 6. So we'll mark that one. All right, number 4. Leonard, let me move my camera over here. He is asking the students at his middle school. He plans to stand outside the school and ask every 5th student a statistical question. So more than one of these are statistical questions. They want you to figure out which ones he can ask. Okay, who is the principal of your school? Remember, the key to a statistical question is there has to be multiple correct answers. It has to be more than one. So who is the principal of your school only has one answer to it. So that is not statistical. In which month were you born? Will Leonard get more than one answer? Certainly. So that's definitely a statistical question right there. What school do you attend? Well, I think they're all walking into his school, so one answer to that one. So not statistical right there. How many minutes did it take you to get to school this morning? Well, kids are going to have a lot of different answers for that one, so that is going to be statistical right there. Those two are our answers for this question. And this one has more than one, more than 2 correct answers to it. So we have to really think carefully about this type of question where they give you a graph and then there's a whole bunch of different statements, and they're all different types of statements asking about the median and the minimums and the ranges. So we need to do a critical thinking about each question. Which ones are correct? The median salary located between 30 and 39. Do you think the middle number, the middle piece of data, is going to be somewhere in this bar? Yes, I definitely think so. Okay, I had to redo it. Technical difficulty. There's about 44 kids in here. So on this side, there's 17. Here's 8. If there are 44 kids, I know that there's going to be 22 kids on either side of the median. So 22 kids will end up being inside this. Here's 8. There's 19, so that's a total of 27 kids. So the 22nd kid will be somewhere in this data. So I agree with that one. We're going to click on that. First one right there. Most employees make over $40,000. Here's 40,000. Is that most employees? All 17 of them? Not even. Nope. Not most of them. Most of them are under it. There are 4 employees who make between 20 and 29,000. Well, let's look. That's not true. We already counted those. It's 8. The minimum salary could be 20,000. Well, yes, the minimum is in this. So 20,000 could be where the minimum is. We don't know for sure, but it could be that. The range of salaries could be $30,000. Well, the range is the distance between the lowest number and the highest number. Could it be $30,000? If we had a number in here and a number up here, our minimum is here, our maximum is here, this number could be 25, right? Because 25 is located within the interval of 20 to 29. So maybe, let's just make up some numbers, all right? Maybe there's a 25 here and maybe there's a 55 up here. That fits within the interval of 50 to 60. So that is a range of 30,000. So yes, it could be $30,000. So we just made up some numbers that fit the intervals, and that's possible. The minimum salary could possibly be 48,000. Nope, the minimum is not in that bar. So those are our 3 answers for that question. And that wraps up the computer portion of this test. Let's take a look at the written portion here. Okay, here we go. This is the written portion right here. We have Team 6-1, Team 6-2. Make sure you read this. You need to know the story behind it because it talks about Antonio. He's surveying, and he wants to know about their time spent researching for the capstone project. We want those words in our question because the first thing they ask is, what is a statistical question Antonio could have asked to gather the data? So he could have asked, how much time did you spend researching for your capstone project? Notice he didn't ask about how much time they're studying or how much time they did something else, but researching the capstone project. Not even how much time did you spend working on your capstone project. That's not really true. It is researching for the capstone project. That would be a good survey question that he asks each of the students. Some of you thought more of a general question, and that works too. Like, how many hours did the typical student spend on researching the capstone project? That's kind of what he was wondering right there. Okay, I forgot to put my question mark over there. Must have that. Okay, and so those are good questions. Now, here is the second part. Explain why the question is a statistical question. They are statistical questions because the data can give a variety of answers. You can say the data or the information or their answers will vary. That's a good word. It will have variability to it. Those are all key words in answering this. Varying, variety, variability, they're all saying the same thing, that there's more than one answer possible. All right, let's look at part B right here. We have to do 4 things: mean, median, mode, range for this data right here. We have to do all the data combined, so give me a second and I will type all the numbers in. It's going to be good if we type them in order from left to right, so I'm going to pause right here and do that. Okay, I got them all typed out here. I had to count them, make sure you count 19 of them, and then here's 19. I know if I have 19 numbers, then one of those numbers is going to be the median because this is an odd number. It can't be split evenly, right? It's odd. It's an odd number. It can't be split evenly. So one of the numbers I'm going to take out because that's going to be the number I circle, and that's going to be the median. That means there's going to be 18 numbers that are split evenly. So 9 on one side, 9 on the other. Let's count those 9. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Circle the next one. That's our median right there. And then there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 on that side. 9 on this side, 9 on that side. So the median is 9. And then we could also add up all these numbers and then divide by 19. So when you add them all up, 201. 201. So 201 divided by 19, and you get this number 10.5789474. And that's as far as my calculator goes. So we're just going to round it off to 10.5789474. I don't know, 6. So a lot of you rounded at different places. That's okay. I wasn't picky of where you rounded it. You could say 11. You could say 10.6. You could say 10.58. That's all fine. But you can't say 10. 10 is not right. 10 does not round. This number does not round to 10. Let me see. The mode, there are 2 modes in here. There is 11 and there is 6. They both have 3. So 6 and 11 is correct. And then what's the other one? The range. The range, we take the highest number, 30, and then we're going to subtract 30 minus the lowest number, the minimum of 2, and that's going to equal 28. So the range is 28. All right, that's all the data right there. So let's go on to the next step, which is to make our tables, our frequency tables, and you have see the numbers that I have filled out so far. The intervals I would use. Look, we're going all the way up to 30 on some of these. Just use simple intervals of numbers. 0 to 9, 10 to 19, 20 to 29, 30 to 39. That's the easiest, simplest way. You can do that. It's fine. All right. They're evenly spaced out. They're all the same size. Easy to use. Use those. That's fine. Okay. Now you can use other ones. Some of you counted by 7s or counted by 8s. But this is just real easy and neat, and it's simple. You could use that all the time. If you want to count by 20s for different data, if it's too big, you can, depending on how many numbers there are and how big the numbers get. But this is a fine one to use right here. We can tally these up pretty easily. Let me talk to you about some of the mistakes I saw. So let's look over here. Scooting over, get over. All right, here's an example. I kind of made up an example here with several mistakes. Okay, common mistakes. A lot of people made these. So take a look at these intervals right here. There's a problem. There's a couple problems with just up here, looking at these. And whoa, come on, get back there. All right, in this one, can you tell what the mistakes are? There's several. First of all, they're not the same size. So I need to talk about this for a while. Let's look at what I mean by that. These intervals have to be the same size intervals, 2 through 6. All right. So what I'm doing is I'm saying I want to count up all of the data that's somewhere between 2 hours and 6 hours. How many students researched between 2 and 6 hours? Let's look at a number line right here. Where's 2 and 6? All right, let me get this. So between 2 and 6, from here to here, like all the kids who researched for this many hours, it could be 2 hours, 3 hours, 4, 5, 6 hours, any of those. I'm going to pile them up, count them up, and they're going to be that stack. What about the next group, 8 through 10? Well, okay, that you can kind of see where our next mistake is. We skipped 7 altogether. So look at your intervals. Some people skipped a number. Not many of you, but some people kind of skipped a little bit. So 8 to 10. The next one, 11 to 15. Okay, so the next one here to here. And then 16 to 30. So from here all the way to here. Look at the size of these intervals. They're not the same size. They have to be the same size. We've got 5 numbers here, 3 numbers, 8, 9, and 10 for this interval. That's not fair. You're only counting, for this bar, you're only counting 3 hours, 3 different types of hours. Here you've got all these, like 15 different hours right here. So you have to make these evenly spaced out. So that's one error I saw a lot of. And then also there's a number skipped right here. We don't want to have any gaps, even if no one studied or no one researched for 7 hours. Don't skip it. Also down here, let's take a look at the after. You'll notice that there is a number that is duplicated. There's a 12 here and a 12 here and a 16 and a 16. So you don't want to duplicate or have 2 of the same number in different intervals. Also another mistake that we didn't really talk a lot about. It's okay, but it's good to know. You should use the same intervals. When you're comparing 2 things, use the same exact interval. And I'm going to show you why. Let's go back over here. Let me move it over. Move it over, people. Move it over. Let me show you why. Let's go ahead and tally up our information and see. You'll notice these intervals are the same. It's going to look really pretty good when we're done here. All right, let's do the same thing down here for team 6-2. Okay, and here's our numbers right here. Here's our data. And let's go ahead and take a look at our histogram. So now that we have the data, the same type of intervals, our histograms are going to be like identical setup, right? Identical intervals, and we can just make our bars. We need 6. There are 6 students here for this bar, and looks like I've got yellow as my, let's put some, and I'm just going to click and drag and make an extra bar. And what was that? 6, 2, right? 6, 2, 0, 1. That was our data that we see in this first one, 6, 2, 0, 1. And then 4, 5, 1, 0. All right, so here's our 2 histograms. We're not quite done yet. We have to put titles in here. Put a title up there and labels down here. All right, so now it's easy to compare these because everything's the same intervals, the same scale, and it's easy to see, kind of make some decisions here. Which team spent the most time researching? I would say 6-2 did. You can say, look, it has higher numbers or has more numbers in the higher intervals. Okay. Some of you added up all the hours. They have more hours total. So they really do have the most. Anyway, that's it. So I'm going to stop right there, and thank you very much.